Howdy everyone, we're Sarcy here, and today we're going to be looking at Niffelheim for PlayStation 4. So Niffelheim is a game which claims to be Terraria meets Kingdom type of game. Since I've been pretty much playing only Terraria as well as this game lately, I think it's fair enough I do a little comparing. So I wouldn't exactly say this game resembles Terraria that closely, but there are some similarities. The game has you running around gathering resources, entering dungeons, fighting enemies, and building and upgrading your base, as well as other structures in the world. But anyways, the game opens with a high quality cutscene introducing Niffelheim before bringing you to the main menu. One thing I like about this game is the art style, and not just the actual game. The art from things such as loading screens just has an awesome feeling to it, with the various monsters, beasts, and even death himself drawn. But getting back on track, you start off by picking a clan and a character. While I'm at this, I'll also mention there's optional multiplayer. You can have another player or even just a bot from other clans. Each character type has their own stats. For example, the heavier build ones have their hunger go down slower. So once you pick your character, your adventure begins. Like I said, there's a lot to do in this game. It doesn't feel like Terraria in the sense that you can just build wherever and such, but it does have a ton of content that, just like Terraria, it'll take you a while to get through. You've got tons of resources you can obtain by cutting down trees, picking up plants, killing animals, mining in the mines, and killing enemies in dungeons. You've got gear you can obtain and create to equip to your character. And while I'm talking about that, I'll also mention that there's durability in this game, so your weapons and tools will get damaged the more you use them. You've got skills that can be leveled up by performing the tasks, such as chopping trees, mining, cooking, etc. By leveling up that, you will also acquire bonus traits to that activity. There's also quests that will randomly be given to you. By completing them, you'll be given the items shown underneath the awards section. One last thing I should mention that I only figured out later after I actually more thoroughly read the tutorial section is that by pressing L1, you can go to the main map where you can view all the areas and teleport to the city where you can trade at the merchant or resurrect the dungeon. And also, whereas you can teleport back to your own clan's area, you'll have to walk to other clans' ones as you can't teleport to them. With the main stuff out of the way, let's talk about dying. What happens when you die? Well, dying makes you respawn in spirit form, where you must run back to your body. Upon doing so, you'll be resurrected, but with a mortal wound side effect that can only be removed with a potion of regeneration. And while I'm talking about dying, I'll mention how I first died so you don't make the same mistake I did. I was only on day 1 and decided to keep walking left for a while and entered a random crypt. Not a good idea, as you will encounter some strong enemies that can kill you in one hit early on if you decide to get too far ahead of yourself. So that's all very dandy, but what's the point of this game? Well, I'm glad you asked, as there is even a nice little section in the tutorials tab titled Aim of the Game that answers just that. Your goal is to get to the portal of Asgard by collecting fragments that will sometimes drop from the bosses, and once you have all of them, you will have access to the portal. So let's talk about the game. There haven't really been any problems with it. I've had some frame rate issues here and there, but nothing too extreme. Usually just when you exit a dungeon or something, it happens for a few seconds. Besides that, all I can say is that this game is a lot more in depth with content than I had anticipated. It is quite welcoming. The controls are simple to understand, and if for some reason you forget them, it's as easy as pausing the game and scrolling tabs left to the tutorial section. Or if that's too much, simply press R3 while playing and it'll jump to the tutorial tab. I haven't tried the multiplayer section, so I can't really speak from experience on that, but it looks to be interesting enough at least. So in the end, if we really want to compare this to Terraria, I'd perhaps say this is the more hardcore version of Terraria, with it being easier to die and having things such as item durability and hunger to manage. That in this game is slower paced and requires more patience and planning. Top that off with the fact that building and mining is of course more limited, as you can't just build or mine right where you're standing. Honestly, I'd rather stick to Terraria, but That's just my personal preference, nothing against this game. The last thing I'll mention before I conclude this review, it seems there aren't any trophies for this game. I'm not sure if the same can be said for the Xbox One version with achievements, so my final words are that this is a fair game with a good amount of content, but when compared to a game that the developers themselves compare this to, Niffelheim is more strict when it comes to building and resource gathering. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this review. I hope you found it helpful. If you want the game yourself, it is available on the PSN store for $15 and also available on Xbox One and Nintendo Switch, with the PC version being updated with the console exclusive content on the 23rd. I'd like to thank Ellada Games for sending me a review key. This is WarsRC on the Game Clips channel, and I'm out.